A lot of excitement right now surrounding Cubs baseball after the unexpected signing and new manager, Craig Counsell. He's bringing in a lot of momentum. But there were some things that happened before that, including Marcus Stroman opting out of his contract. And he was one of the Cubs starting pitcher and an all-star last season. So what are the Cubs doing to improve the pitching? A lot of you guys have commented on here and said, hey, it doesn't matter about any of these guys that can hit. Cubs need pitching. That's the only way they're going to get over the hump and win the World Series. No disagreeing with that. We're going to talk about it on this show here. And I want to remind you guys that if you've got a great arm, or maybe you're a soft toss underhand softball player, we want you on the Cubs baseball channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Thanks, and welcome to the show. All right, from the middle of Gatlinburg, that's where I am right now on a little staff retreat. I'm Mick Gillispie with Chad Anderson. It never stops us, though, from talking Cubs baseball. And right now, the Bears that are around here, they have Cubs with them, but they're actually real Bears and Cubs. They're not football and baseball teams. So make sure that you lock your trash can up at night. Let's talk about the ones, though, that play baseball, the Cubs, and the fact that Chad, they need some pitching right now. So many different options. None of them that you feel like, hey, this would be a superstar, but some of them could turn into being superstar signings. We can talk about what the Cubs have in their system, but I really feel like they're going to have to go out and either trade or sign someone to replace Marcus Stroman. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Waiting on Yogi and Boo Boo to pop out from behind you over there. Yeah, Mr. Ranger, sir. It's beautiful scenery, though. I got to give you that.
Look at that.
Look
at that
foliage is gorgeous back there. Yeah, the Smokies, man. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, this off season, we talked about this off and on, especially early. What was it, about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, when the whole Pete Alonso thing, that was the first to surface, with a trade rumor was, oh my God, is the polar bear. Speaking of bears, how about the polar bear making his way over to Wrigley
None of those
Field?
here.
None of those in Tennessee, no. But could be one in Chicago. So they talked about that. And then there was all the Bellinger hype. And now recently it's been the Ohtani hype. And the only real pitcher that keeps getting connected with the Cubs is, the Cubs are going to go make a run at Yamamoto. And Yamamoto could be the biggest free agent, especially international, that we've ever seen. And in a, I think he's about 25, 24 years old, somewhere in there. It's a big signing, talking numbers with the likes of Garrett Cole and Steven Strasburg. Obviously, Cole has worked out so far for the Yankees. Strasburg didn't work for the Nationals. But you look at the names and the different options we've addressed. While the Cubs would love to get bats and Alonso or Soto on a trade or Bellinger or maybe multiple of those or a combination of those, the Cubs need pitching. The pitching isn't bad, but it's not great. And it's not a staff that's experienced or got that anchor other than, Kyle Hendricks, of course, was on the World Series team 7 years ago, but they don't have that just shut down number one ace. No disrespect to Justin Steele by any means, but he's still young. He doesn't have that veteran experience that you go out and depend on. So those are the names. There's all kinds of different opportunities. Yamamoto's one, but the rumor recently is West Coast for him. Then you look at, okay, what about Aaron Nola? What about Blake Snell, who's probably going to win the NL Cy Young? Clayton Kershaw looking for a 1 or 2 year deal. Do they stick with Stroman? I don't think so. Do they, try to bring him back? Do you trade? Do you go after Glasnow? Jordan Montgomery? There's a lot of options out there and a lot of names, but the Cubs do have to focus here and figure out where they're going to get some pitching.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious what the deal is with Trevor Bauer. I mean, Major League Baseball suspended him. Yeah, and it was absolutely bogus. I mean, he ought to own Major League Baseball for them getting it wrong, their investigation. And then when we found out what really happened there, it's awful. It's awful because I've spent my life around these players, and there's people that are hunters that are constantly looking to con them out of their money, and that's what happened with him. And it's a real shame because when bad things happen to people, you want those players to be, obviously punished like anyone else if they're doing something wrong. But what if they're accused of something and they didn't do it wrong? He was the best pitcher. I guess he was like the MVP of the league in Japan, right? Had a great season over there. And I'm wondering, what that would look like. I'd love to have him in the Cubs rotation. And I think he's going to come back a different person. I mean, when you get accused of a crime that you didn't commit, and then you lose, it was the largest suspension ever for nothing, really. Is he going to come back and is he going to be ready to go? I think he is. I think this guy's going to be an ace on whatever staff he goes to.
See, when we talked about him, this is another perfect setup for the Cubs, because when you and I brought him up a few weeks ago, when this story broke about his innocence, I said, this is a guy I really want. And I get it. Maybe some of you don't want him, but if you don't want him, you can't hold the lawsuit, the allegations against him. You can't hold that. If you don't like his personality, if you just don't think he's a good player, if you don't like his character, aside from the allegations, don't factor in those allegations. If you don't like him for whatever reason, that's fine. That's fair. That's your opinion. There are players in Major League Baseball I simply don't like, and I don't know them personally. I just don't like either how they play the game or how they handle themselves on the field. Two completely different things. But I think this is an amazing spot for the Cubs or some team to get in on a short-term deal. Nobody's going to pay mega bucks for Trevor Bauer, but you have an opportunity to do what Cody Bellinger and the Cubs put together. You got a chance at a 1-year, 2-year type deal. This guy is going to play and pitch so pissed off with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. And especially to the Los Angeles Dodgers, he's going to be lights out for whoever he pitches for. Hungry, man. He's going to want it. And so that's why, again, I like Bauer just for how he is as a pitcher. But you throw that gasoline on the fire, that's a guy I want in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really a fan of his, but then when I saw that video, I become a fan of his just because he deserves that. But who knows? Maybe he's an option for the Cubs. I'm looking all across the globe right now for pitching. Yamamoto, we'll take him. Trevor Bauer, let's bring him on. Glass now, is he going to be a possibility? I mean, he'd be a 1-year rental. How much would you give up? And then I saw a story where they were talking about what the Padres want in return for Juan Soto, and it's pitching.